Hello and welcome to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less ship review on the road to Invictus, we have the Consolidated Outlands Nomad, which is right behind me. Let's go ahead and take a look. And starting with another Road to Invictus review, we have the Consolidated Outlands Nomad right here in front of me. Now, we're going to discuss the pack price, the standalone price, the in-game price, as well as go over every detail we can of this ship and, why it just might be worth every dollar you spend, in-game or out of the game. So, what will that cost you? Let's take a look. It is priced at $95 for the pack, which is right on the border edge, obviously, of that $100 mark. And then if you were to buy it standalone, it's $80. Now, you can also get it in-game for $1,512,000 UEC. So that's a pretty good price as well, especially for what you get on this beautiful looking machine. You're going to notice right off the bat, there is no landing gear per se. There's more or less landing pads because these things are hover tech. So they don't touch the ground technically, and they keep your ship above the ground. Right now I have the rear cargo area deployed, so that's the only thing really touching the ground, but it does not need to be deployed. You just hover above the ground. It is a really cool design, and that is something pretty interesting because it actually allows you to land in a little bit more uneasy terrain like this without creating too big of a difficulty doing so. So pretty cool note right there from the start. Now, going into the damage that this ship outputs, as you can see, there's 3 guns, 2 on top, 1 on the bottom here. They are all 3 size 3 CF337 Panthers, and it outputs 828 DPS, which is actually really good compared to most of the starter ships we reviewed so far. Now that the guns up top, they're not like a turret in the means of you need a second person. Not at all. You control that as the pilot. So all the guns here, controllable by you. And then you do also have a remote tractor beam at the back here, as you can see. And that allows you to move cargo in and out, as well as small vehicles like the Mirai Pulse sitting there. And we'll get more into the cargo area in just a moment. Let's continue with the damage portion. You do have 8 size 2 Strike Force 2 missiles, which you can see right here on the front, 4 on each side. And then if you were to compare the DPS with this ship and all the other starters, the Cutter at 296, the C8X at 236, the Titan at 1,858, the Aurora at 242, the 100I at 450, and the Suyulin at 393. And the Mustang Alpha at 368. So obviously this Nomad is up there in the top hitters. I think it's actually second best compared to any of the starters that I just mentioned. So that is really awesome. That's already a big positive for such a ship at such a price. This ship has so much going for it, even when you're looking at like the shield. It has 4,500 shield strength, which, you're thinking to yourself, well, that's not that much. Well, for a starter ship, under $100 compared to all the other starter ships, it's actually quite a bit. It has the most shield output than any other starter ship available. So the Cutter, obviously 1,500, C8X 1,500, Titan 3,000, Aurora 3,000, the 100I 1,500, the Suyulin 3,000, the Mustang Alpha 3,000. So you sit at 4,500 on this ship, which is fantastic because not only are you outputting good damage, you can actually take a hit or two. Because you've seen a thing or two. So you will need to put out that damage and also receive any damage. You're going to negate a lot of that. So that's pretty awesome. Now, surprisingly, though, for a ship at this price and size, your ship health really isn't there. You have 9,800 health points, which is actually surprising. Typically the bigger the ship you have, the more health you have. So that split apart into the multiple pieces of this ship could actually make this ship pretty fragile once you lose that shield. So you got to be careful. Once you lose that shield, break off, regen, come into the fight, right? Do your best to avoid that situation altogether. Now, comparing that to other ships, the Cutter has 17,100 health points. The C8X has 6,250, and the Titan sitting at 11,900, and the Aurora sitting at 5,740, and the 100i sitting at the measly 3,900, and the Sulin sitting at 11,740, and the Mustang Alpha sitting at 8,731. So it's not the worst, obviously, but it's also not the best, especially since it's a big ship. So those health points are going to be spread apart this ship pretty well. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a ship that, like I said, once you lose that shield, consider breaking off from the fight if you don't think you're, if you think you're going to get hit a bunch. Not that if you don't think you're going to hit a bunch. Now, talking about that cargo space in the back before we head into the inside, this ship can carry small vehicles, even a rock, an ROC, so it allows you to go out and mine all the rocks out there on the beautiful moons and planets that are available to us. So that is pretty cool. You can fit some pretty sizable vehicles back here. Right now, I just put a Mirai Pulse because I just really loving this thing, and I think it's totally worth the price point that it's at currently, and it's going to be even more beautiful once you can buy it in game. Now, you can carry 24 SCU of cargo. That outmatches any of the other starter ships. And I know people are going to be like, well, yeah, I mean, look at the price, but it's still a starter pack, and it's still under $100, albeit $5 under $100. It's still under $100. So this is potentially the starter ship you want to get if if your price point is under that $100 mark. Or even a ship that you want to upgrade to if you have a starter pack like the Aurora or the Titan and you're like, you know what, I want a little bit more. This is a great upgrade option. So not only is it a great starter pack ship, it's a great upgrade option from one of the other starter ships. Fantastic if you don't want to break that $100 mark, especially. So something to consider there. 24 SCU of cargo compared to the Cutter at 4, the C8X at 4, the Titan at 8, the Aurora at 3, the 100i at 2, the Sulin at 6, and the Mustang Alpha at 4. As you can see, you carry so much cargo. I was, past the cargo portion, the ship speed's a little slow, probably second worst when it comes to ship speed. You sit at 205 SCM as a top speed with a 450 forward boost, a 230 backwards boost, as well as a 1100 nav speed. So in that regard, also something to keep an eye on because it is pretty slow compared to other starter ships. So the SCM at 205 compared to the Cutter at 180, which is the slowest, the C8X at 220, the Titan at 260, which is the fastest, the Aurora at 225, the 100i at 260, also tied with the Titan at the fastest, and the Sulin at 225, and the Mustang at 225 as well. So it's comparably slow. It's second worst, right? So consider that option when you are fighting other ships. Is this something you really want to get into? If you're looking primarily for something that's more for fighting and less for cargo, you might want to pass on this and stick with something like the Titan. But you know what? I'm also going to be releasing a video that compares them all at once after, you're going to have your breakdown videos like this, and then a Road to Invictus finale that is going to show you all of them together, their stats, and which one wins which field. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And remember, it's all my opinion. So if you don't agree, I totally understand. I don't hate you for it. We all have our loves and hates for each ship in the game. I've entered the ship from that side door, as you saw. Now I'm in here in the interior. I'm going to go ahead and move through. And, did I forget something? Oh, yeah, I did. The quantum fuel. You have 809 quantum fuel in this ship, so it is much more than a lot of the other starters. Just really quick, the Cutter at 1,960, the C8X at 742, the Titan at 612, the Aurora at 671, the 100i at 805, the Sulin at 2,900, the Mustang Alpha at 671. So with that in mind, still, it's looking like a fantastic ship. Now, how do you control that rear cargo area? Right here. It's as simple as close cargo bay, press F, you're good to go. You can watch it through this little window. It raises up, and bingo. You can see your, your vehicle or your cargo. whatnot. Now, if you move over here, you can see that there is some storage for the components here, and that's where some of them are, so you can go ahead and close that up. And then if you move over here, you have a storage area for your armor and stuff, which is not usable yet. So if you want to access your ship storage, again, you press I, and you'll see your ship storage here on the right with a capacity of 1,230K. Interior storage to me is kind of confusing. So just know it can fit a lot of interior storage. That's something I'm still working on myself, on understanding the interior storage output amount. So on the other side, you do have a bathroom with a toilet, which I will never sit on ever. If you know me at all, there's a death trap. I'm not doing it. Close that. And you got to hover squat. You really do. You walk through this door and you have a fully complemental living area. I don't know why I said complemental. What the heck word is that? Including a little tree. So don't mind my speaking here, but you do have a great looking bed. You have a lot of cool looking stuff, some books to read, a screen that'll probably pop out, watch a show. And then if you turn around, you have a full on kitchen with a chair that you can open, which is pretty cool. And then you can sit down and eat your food. You can cook your food. You have your all your workout stuff, pre-workout, everything over here. And a nice little sink and a stovetop. This thing is fantastic. And then to access even more components, they're right here on the ceiling. Whoa. Bet you didn't see that coming. So even more components here, which is always good to have more access to more components. I'm sure there's more to come because right here there is avionics, but you can't open it. And probably other locations. But pretty cool, huh? This is a pretty neat ship. I really, really love it. The score is going to represent that too, just because there's so much to it. And at that price point of $95, it's not terrible. This is the cockpit. Obviously, it's very simple, very basic, very straightforward. You just get in your seat and you start flying. I'm going to go ahead and get into the seat really quick just to take off and show you what those landing gear do when you retract them, as well as show you that you do have 1, 2, 3, 4 MFDs and the radar up front. You only have 48 decoys and 5 noise, so be very wary of that. Your Panthers put out 124 shots each at the base power triangle, so always good to know that as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn on those engines and take off. Hop into third person and show you what it looks like when you go ahead and retract that landing gear. It makes it a pretty smooth looking ship, honestly, like something out of Independence Day. So it's a very cool looking ship. Love it. It's a great addition to any fleet if you already have a game package and a starter ship. The Nomad is something to definitely have just for low cargo and being able to transport a vehicle, do some land mining or just mining in general with any sort of rocks on the ground. Fantastic ship. Honestly, the score on this one, it's hard not to give it a great score. I think, is there any reason to not give it a good score? I don't think so. The speed is a little bit of a hit. So outside of that and the price point just being where it's at, this ship is a 9 out of 10. Now, 9 out of 10 isn't due to the price point. Oh man, 9 out of 10. Is that really where I'm going? Yeah, 9 out of 10 just because you do have great damage output. You do have great shields, but your health pool is tiny. So there is your negative factor and why it hits a 9 out of 10. 9,800 health pool. That's pretty low. Starter ships, obviously, they're all going to be pretty low because they're starter ships. Is it the lowest? No. But 9,800 health for such a big ship, you'd think there'd be a little bit more. But that's okay. 9,800 health and a pretty slow ship. So 9 out of 10 is where I'm going to be sitting with this score. Let me know what you think of the Nomad down in the comments below. I know a lot of people have this ship because it's just such a favorite among everyone. And I totally understand why, because it is a great all-arounder. It literally does everything. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.